Okay, let me paint a picture for you. You know that feeling, right? You find something new, could be anything, learning a language, getting into coding, maybe mastering a craft, and for 3 weeks, you are all in. You're staying up till 3 a.m., just soaking it all up, consuming every single data point. You feel like, this is it, I was born for this. And then, nothing. Some random Tuesday afternoon, the switch just flips. The fire's gone. Today, we're going to talk about why that happens, and more importantly, why it isn't a flaw, but a feature of how your mind works.
Yeah, this is a feeling so many of us know way too well. You dive into something with this incredible high-definition focus. You're absorbing everything, you feel like you're a natural. It's not a hobby, it's your new life mission. And then, almost out of nowhere, that mission feels like a chore. The passion just evaporates, and you're left there wondering, what the heck just happened?
And then comes the question. You hear it from your family, from your friends. Maybe the person you scream it at the most is yourself in the mirror. Why can't I just stick with it? But see, that's not really a question, is it? It's an accusation. It comes loaded with this feeling of failure, of being inconsistent, and this deep, nagging sense of shame. It feels like there's something fundamentally wrong with you. So let's put a name to this whole painful process. We're going to call it the obsession burnout cycle. It's this loop that just keeps happening, and it usually comes with some really heavy, really damaging labels. Our job today is to completely dismantle the shame that our culture attaches to this idea of being a quitter.
Take a look at these. Do any of them sting a little? Inconsistent, unreliable, lazy, or hey, how about this all-time classic? Jack of all trades, master of none. These aren't just words, right? They dig deep. They build up into what we call intellectual shame. That persistent, corrosive feeling that you're just broken because you can't seem to hold focus like a normal person. But what if this isn't a character flaw? What if we've been diagnosing the problem all wrong? Let's reframe this entire experience. This isn't about willpower or laziness. It's about the very specific, very powerful way your brain is wired to process the world. The concept we're talking about is called information satiety. And listen, this is the key. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine. The real reward, that big dopamine hit that keeps you hooked, it doesn't come from just doing the thing. It comes from figuring out the thing, from decoding the system. Once you've mapped out that pattern in perfect 8K resolution, the actual execution, well, that's just repetitive. The novelty's gone, and so is the reward. This slide, this is where it all clicks. This is the power of a reframe. The old, blurry 240p lie tells you you're a quitter. But the 8K truth? No. You've decoded the system. The lie says you're lazy. The truth says you're experiencing information satiation. You're not inconsistent. You are a high-resolution sentinel, a mind built to scan, to understand, to map new territory at lightning speed, not to endlessly patrol the same old ground. So let's dig into the science here, because this isn't just some nice-sounding psychological theory. This is rooted in biology. Your boredom literally has a physical address in your brain, and it's run by a very specific chemical messenger. The key mechanism here is called reward prediction error. It sounds complicated, but it's really simple. It's just the gap between what your brain thinks is going to happen and what actually happens. When you're learning something new, that gap is huge. Every outcome is a surprise, and your brain loves it. This constant error is what fuels your brain's seeking system and floods it with that motivation molecule, dopamine. And this chart right here, this shows you exactly what's going on inside your head. When a task is new, the prediction error is high, and your brain's ventral tegmental area, the VTA, unleashes a massive wave of dopamine. You feel amazing, engaged, alive. But once you solve the puzzle, the prediction error drops to 0. The outcome is certain, and as you can see, the dopamine release just completely flatlines. It's gone. So you can basically think of it like an equation. It's a relationship between your brain's processing power and the task's complexity. For a high-resolution mind that sees patterns incredibly fast, a simple system gets solved almost instantly. And once that happens, the information profit is gone. Your brain's seeking system just shuts down. You're not bored of the activity, you are saturated by the certainty. So let's lock in this new perspective one more time. This is not a bug in your programming. It is an evolutionary feature. You are built for a specific purpose, and it's probably not what our modern world typically values. Your true calling is mastering the frontier, not the endless maintenance of the settled land. See, the modern world praises what we can call dandelion specialization. This idea that you should just plant yourself in one spot and do that one thing for 40 years. But for a mind wired like yours, that is a metabolic prison. You're designed for Sentinel's efficiency. Your job is to get in, decode the pattern, extract the value, and then move the tribe on to the next resource. You are built to innovate, not to iterate. And this means we have to completely redefine grit. We've been sold this low-resolution lie that grit is just the ability to do the same boring thing over and over again. That's not it. For the Sentinel, true grit is a much higher-level skill. It's the ability to take what you've learned from all these different fields you've briefly mastered and synthesize them into something brand new. Your boredom is a signal. It's your brain saying, we have the data. Time to move to the next node. Okay, so the big question. How do we actually manage this in the real world without blowing up our lives and our careers? Well, we stop trying to force the focus, and we start architecting the novelty. And we can do that using a framework I call the recursive protocol. This protocol is made up of 4 T strategies. They're all designed to work with your brain's natural wiring, not against it. Let's break them down one by one. First up, the meta-layer strategy. When a task becomes solved and starts to feel boring, don't just quit. Instead, you zoom out. You shift your focus from doing the task to designing a better system for the task. This instantly transforms boring, repetitive execution into a brand new, high-resolution engineering problem that your brain will love to solve. Second, dual domain anchoring. This is a game changer. You need to always have at least 2 completely unrelated projects or deep interests going at the same time. Why? Because when you inevitably hit that wall of information satiety in one area, you don't just crash and burn. You simply pivot. You shift your attention to the other domain, which lets your dopamine system reset for the first project while you get a fresh hit of novelty from the second. Third is the complexity audit. This is your active intervention for when you feel boredom setting in. You have to recognize that feeling for what it is, a signal that the system has become too simple for your hardware. The solution? You deliberately make it harder. You add new variables, introduce challenging constraints, or force yourself to operate at a higher level of detail. You are essentially manufacturing a new prediction error to reignite your brain's interest. And finally, the fourth and maybe the most crucial step of all, labeling the satiety. This is about changing your internal monologue. When you feel that familiar urge to quit, you consciously stop the shame spiral. Instead, you narrate what's happening from the calm, detached position of the observer. You say this to yourself, I have decoded the 8-key pattern. My hardware is now looking for a new prediction error. I will now pivot. That simple script removes the destructive emotion and puts you back in control. So let's make this the final takeaway. Let this one sink in. You don't have an attention deficit. You don't lack discipline. You have a surplus of pattern recognition velocity. You are not a quitter. You are a pioneer who just processed the existing map faster than everyone else and is now standing at the edge of the uncharted frontier. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Look at your life right now. What is the first solved system? That boring task at work, that hobby you dropped, where you can apply one of these strategies today and begin to consciously architect your own path to mastery.